Hey man, tell them to save us a seat at the Sub Shack for lunch.
Somebody needs to clean this up.
Whoa!
What was that?
Oh my gosh!
What happened? Are you okay? Somebody should call 911.
Does anybody know his family?
Poor guy.
Dan May was the victim of routine, everyday hazards that can be found anywhere in our workplace. As Dan discovered, even everyday tasks can cause serious injuries. Unfortunately, Dan is in a great deal of pain and could miss a lot of work. His coworkers will have to work overtime to make up for his absence. And this incident is going to cost our city some money that could have been used to improve working conditions. Obviously, Dan made a few mistakes. He tried to carry too many boxes and was not watching where he was going. But the physical hazards and at-risk behaviors he encountered also contributed to the accident. Each employee who came across the hazards could have reported the problem or taken steps to isolate or correct the hazard. And the truck driver and his passengers were simply ignoring our safe driving policies. The purpose of this video is to help you recognize routine hazards found in the workplace and emphasize the importance of immediately reporting, isolating, or correcting these hazards. When we see a hazard, we often assume someone else will fix the problem. We make excuses for not taking action, or we simply ignore the hazard. But no matter how routine the risk may seem, this is not how we prevent accidents. The key component of our city's safety culture is to take personal responsibility for the safety of yourself, your coworkers, and our citizens. Cirsa presents The Risk is in the Routine, a new look at accident prevention.
Bill, you okay?
I hurt my back. I think it was a little heavier than I thought. I haven't been able to work for 2 months since the accident happened. My back hurts all the time. Bills are piling up. We had to cancel our vacation. I probably should have asked somebody to help me lift the pump. But then again, nobody offered to help me either.
Phil has worked in the Parks Department for over 10 years and never had an injury before. Perhaps his job became too routine, but he has no idea what pain is about to transpire. His coworkers don't realize the extra work they will have to do to make up for Phil being gone 3 months. And no one considers how it will affect the services we provide to our citizens, as well as the direct and indirect costs to our city. What could have been done to prevent Phil's injury? What would you have done in this situation? Let's watch an alternate version of this event.
Hey Phil, hold up a second. Let me give you a hand with this thing. It weighs a ton, and I don't want to see you get hurt. So we'll lift on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, Charlie. The thing was heavier than I thought.
No problem. Don't be afraid to ask for help next time.
Back injuries are one of the most common and costly injuries among public entity employees. By following lifting guidelines, using proper lifting techniques, getting help from fellow employees, and using mechanical devices, we can prevent many lifting injuries. We've all seen the facts and figures regarding the number of collisions caused by distracted drivers. Laws have been passed in many states that prohibit texting while driving, and everyone should know that talking on a cell phone while driving takes your mind off where it should be, on the road ahead. But what should you do if you're a passenger in a moving vehicle and the driver is texting? This is easy if you're in a position of authority. You ask them to stop, or you'll take disciplinary action. It's a tougher situation, though, if you have less experience or don't want to create a conflict. How would you react in this scenario?
Pete, maybe you could pay more attention to the road and not your phone?
Mind your own business, kid. I do this all the time, and I've never had an accident.
Chill out, Skippy. You're riding with the big dogs now.
What was that?
Some drivers settle into their routine and often forget basic safety rules such as cell phone usage and wearing seatbelts. Driving must never become routine. As a passenger in a city vehicle, your safety is in the hands of someone else. Here are a few tips on how you might handle this situation. Ask the driver if you could make the call or text for them. This may give them a subtle but helpful message. You could relate a story of how someone you know totaled their vehicle while texting and driving. Remind the driver of the city's policy on phone use in a vehicle. And always make sure your seatbelt is fastened. If you feel the situation is hazardous, you should speak to your supervisor. Taking personal responsibility for your own safety includes removing yourself from hazardous situations when necessary.
Come on, Sally. Come on, Sally. Come on, Sally. Push him in. Push him in.
I think I tore up my knee. Come on.
Oh, dude, you okay, man?
I think you screwed up his knee.
I tore my ACL. I had surgery and I've been on crutches for a month, and now I'm stuck on light duty behind this desk. It might be a while before I'm on the street again. We were practicing arrest control techniques, and I guess I got a little too competitive.
Joe is an 8-year veteran of our police force. He's in great shape and is dedicated to being a good cop. But on this day, a routine training exercise will severely damage his knee and potentially ruin his career. What potential hazards exist in this training room? And what attitudes need to be curtailed to prevent an incident? How would you react in this scenario?
Hey, somebody want to help me move these tables and chairs? Should be a shame if somebody smashed into them.
It's actually a good idea, Rex. Good job. Matt, you want to help me with this one?
All right, guys. Let's keep the egos in check. We face enough dangers out in the field. Let's not get busted up in training. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
The frequency and cost of police training injuries are substantial, and we've had some career-ending incidents. Arrest control and defensive tactics training account for a high percentage of all police officer injuries. Whether it's arrest control, firearm qualifications, or vehicle driving, we need to establish strict safety controls and make sure they are being followed during training. To prevent our officers from getting hurt during training, we need to recognize potential hazards and take steps to minimize the risks. Our police officers routinely watch each other's backs while in the field and must show the same diligence during training. Employees in public works in the street department operate a variety of heavy equipment. These include backhoes, graders, dump trucks, and front-end loaders. While operating this equipment, our crews take safety very seriously. They concentrate on protecting themselves, fellow workers, and the public from harm. But it's the routine hazards that often cause the most damage and pain.
I just finished my shift and parked the backhoe. When I jumped out of the cab, I heard a loud snap. My leg hurt like crazy. I cracked my ankle and tore some ligaments. Public Works, this is Stan.
Stan has been an equipment operator for over 12 years. He knows how to safely operate his equipment and had never before had an accident. But Stan developed an unsafe routine.
I should have known better. I took a shortcut and I'm paying for it now. Forget about the softball league this summer.
Injuries from ascending and descending heavy equipment are quite common. Some result in serious injuries. Since Stan's incident, our city put together a program to train operators how to avoid this type of injury. We have our crews practice climbing up and down the equipment, always maintaining 3 points of foot or hand contact at all times. Each piece of heavy equipment has multiple handholds and footrests to help maintain the 3 points of contact. Stickers have been placed on each piece of equipment as a reminder. We also encourage employees to coach each other regarding safe work practices. If a worker observes someone about to jump off a piece of equipment, they remind them of the safe way to exit the vehicle. The new hires have already caught on to the value of maintaining a safe workplace, and our experienced guys have begun to realize they will enjoy a longer career by promoting a positive safety culture.
Thank you. The force of the fall knocked the wind out of me, and the pain in my hip was excruciating. I had a displaced joint and severe bruising. And my poor husband has had to take all his vacation time just to care for me. I don't know when I'll get back to work. And it's all because I was in a hurry.
Mary is the manager in our recreation center. She is responsible for the safety of 20 employees and hundreds of guests each week. But on this day, she's late for a meeting at the city manager's office and fails to protect herself. There can be a number of hazards found in a recreation center. Some are obvious, but many are routine. So what could have been done to prevent Mary's injury? Let's see where some different actions could have created a much better outcome. Mary knew she would be passing by the pool and should have taken the necessary precautions. Wearing proper footwear is crucial to preventing slips and falls. Mary could have taken the extra few seconds to put on her slip-resistant shoes. Second, the lifeguard on duty has a responsibility to warn staff and patrons of slip hazards, especially in the pool area. While standing water next to a pool may be considered an obvious hazard, verbal warnings and the placement of wet floor signs are easy prevention steps. Third, Mary had requested funds to purchase mats to be placed near the pool entrances, but the cost had not been approved. Even though budgets are tight, the safety of employees and citizens should be a high value. And finally, an awareness of potential hazards must be maintained at all times. As a manager, Mary knew the danger of ignoring risks, but it only took a few seconds of inattention to change her life. Working in road construction zones is a frequent requirement for some of our crews. Serious accidents and injuries can occur. The incident our crew experienced could have been prevented by following established safety procedures and providing adequate training. Let's look back and see what went wrong. The crew was dispatched to repair a hole in a busy street. The crew placed traffic cones to move cars over, but failed to put up advance warning signs.
In our rush to repair the hole, we drove off without the truck that had the advance warning signs. But hey, it wasn't my job to remember the signs. Besides, I figured it'd take way too long to go back and get them, and I figured we could get by with just the cones.
The supervisor assigned a new employee to the flagger position, even though he had not been certified for those duties.
Our regular flagger was out today, so I thought I'd help out, thinking it was no big deal. I wasn't aware you needed a safety vest. I guess I was in the wrong place. I thought I was, but it's not my fault.
In addition, the supervisor should have parked his vehicle away from the work zone. He left his truck in the lane just inside the traffic cones.
I just came up here to check on my crew. I was only going to be here for a few minutes. I don't know what happened.
All of these errors combined to create a serious hazard for an unsuspecting motorist. The resulting accident caused injuries to the driver and brought a liability suit against the city. Because of the accident, a thorough investigation was conducted, safety controls were reviewed, and our training was reinforced. Our new work area protection procedures call for the use of a work site observation checklist that covers all policies, procedures, and safeguards. This checklist is prepared by the supervisor and reviewed prior to any work zone job. Our street crews follow the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and employees receive annual training on these standards. The responsibility for packing advance warning signs has been assigned to the supervisor. Certified flaggers are trained in all aspects of work area protection and issued appropriate safety clothing and PPE for their exposure. Our street department supervisor now checks the work zone at the beginning of each job to make sure temporary traffic controls are placed at proper distances and adequate warnings are being given to motorists. He makes sure all extra vehicles are parked behind the work zone and away from oncoming traffic. And he monitors the work throughout the day to make sure city employees and contractors are following our safety rules. Part of the safety culture we are trying to create involves providing our employees with the resources, training, and support needed to work safely and efficiently. Many of our employees perform hazardous jobs on a routine basis. But as we've seen, there can be risk hidden in the routine. From the scenarios we've just watched, the employees were usually aware of the safe way to do their job, but each had a convenient excuse for working at risk. Somebody needs to clean this up.
It's not my job.
I do this all the time. I've never had an accident.
I didn't know I was supposed to wear a vest.
I was in a hurry.
I guess I should have asked for help.
It would just take too long.
And I guess we got a little too competitive.
Wasn't my fault.
The excuses we make for not working safely can result in serious injuries, not only to ourselves, but to fellow employees and the citizens of our community. These accidents have a devastating effect on those who are injured, and they cost the city a significant amount of money. Safety is everyone's responsibility. We not only have to work safely ourselves, but encourage our coworkers to do the same. This is essential if we are to build a strong safety culture, prevent injuries, and reduce costs. Let's review some of the key points we discussed in this video. Take your training seriously and follow established safety rules and procedures. If you're unsure of the safe way to do a job, ask your supervisor. Take personal responsibility for your safety. If you recognize a hazardous condition or situation, do what you can to report, isolate, or control the hazard. Don't take shortcuts. Take the time to be safe. Safety equipment has been designed for a reason, to protect yourself and others. If you got it, use it. If you need it, get it. Coach fellow employees to work safely. If you see someone performing an at-risk behavior, remind them of the safe way to do the job. And offer to help other employees with hazardous tasks when appropriate. Accident prevention must be a team effort. We have to work together to minimize incidents and prevent injuries. Hazards are everywhere in our work environment, and many are considered routine. We must stay focused on the risks at hand in order to recognize these routine hazards and work diligently to prevent accidents from occurring. Always remember that the risk is in the routine.